Hello and welcome to the Collapse Experiment. Today I'd like to talk about women and comics. Now, I'm not referring to like big tits, big guns, 1990s comic books. I am referring to women who read and what they enjoy, or at least in my experience, what they did enjoy. You have to excuse me. I just had I can't even call it a bowl. It wasn't a bowl of ramen. It was a ramen noodle, more like a mi goreng, called genki, and it's a fiery chicken flavored ramen. With like habanero or ghost peppers or some insane crap. But I do have a a ramen review website called the Ramen Ronin, and I'm probably going to be writing up on that in the not too distant future. But to get back on track, so back in the 90s, it wasn't uncommon for women to be reading comics. Some people would consider it rare, but if you're going to the comic shop, you're going to bump into a few here and there. The joke used to be that like if a woman did walk in through the door, that she would be like followed and Googled over, and guys would walk up trying to think of some pickup line they heard at some point. But this is one of the popular series back in the day, 20 plus years ago, that several women that I've known over the years have read. I've read this entire series, Strangers in Paradise by Terry Moore. And the main character is this blonde girl here, Kachu, and David, the Asian guy. I don't remember the brunette's name. That is going to that hurts. I can't remember what the hell her name was. It's been about 20 years since I've read it. And it originally started out as a 3-issue miniseries. I believe this is the cover for the trade paperback. The original trade paperback for Strangers in Paradise. The 3 issues that Terry Moore did. And for a miniseries, it's very rare for a 3 or 4 issue miniseries to be optioned for a regular series. But Strangers in Paradise somehow managed to go from that 3 issue original series to a ongoing series. And over the years, it did change publishers. I know at one point it was Image Comics, and which was kind of weird because for several years before that, it was completely black and white. You had all the tone and shading and shadows and everything was done by ink. You didn't have any color to the pages, but they were still amazing pages. Like, for example, this is a good example of what the pages look like. And yeah, apparently Volume 1 is $22 in stock on Amazon. That is crazy. I think I bought this originally for like $9.99. Not this one in particular. The Volume 1 with the 3 issues. But anyways, it was a series. The main characters are women, and you're learning about who Kachu is, and then David's in love with her, but she's not interested in men, and you're trying to find out like why this guy is like head over heels in love with her, and she doesn't want anything to do with him, and she's in love with this girl. It's they could have named it Love Stinks, and he might have gotten sued by whatever band that is. I forget what 80s band sang that song, but it's the opening line to that song is this relationship right here. He's in love with her, she's in love with someone else. Yeah. But it gets really involved later on. It has to do with like the Russian mob and prostitution and all this. It gets pretty crazy, but it keeps your attention and it doesn't go overboard. There's really no jumping the shark in this series. And at one point in time, it was optioned to be a HBO TV show, but there were arguments about whether it was going to be an animated series or if they're going to do live action. And when HBO wasn't following what Terry Moore wanted to do with the series, he backed out. Like, said, nope, you can't pay me enough. This is my property. We're not doing this. And it's unfortunate. I think this would have been like one hell of a TV series. And in reality, like these days with Netflix and Amazon and all of that, like it realistically could be done. Like if they were to go through the whole process now and it wasn't HBO, like I think Terry Moore would probably get what he wanted. So some of the other artists that I noticed women back in the day really enjoyed, one of them was Robert Crumb. And I get it. I really, he doesn't do the supermodel silicone breast. What you're gonna see with Robert Crumb is like heavier women, stockier women. He has a thing for women with, yeah, like more powerful legs. You're going to find, yeah, he has this thing about like women who can overpower him. And when he draws women, there's a lot of women out there who are in the comics. Like here's one, I think they cut the leg out here. But I believe in the original one, it's more like this, where he's like, you know, looking at the calves and the thick thighs here. And anatomically, it was more appealing to women who felt like maybe they weren't as attractive. There's somebody out there drawing them. Yeah, Janis Joplin here. And for that's just his art style by itself is really, I think, what attracted women to his work. Plus, he's got this weird thing about piggyback rides. I don't understand it. And I did watch one documentary years ago. It's pretty well known on the topic, where I think some psychiatrist is talking about how like his sexual relationship with women, it's like a mother figure, where it's like he's on the floor looking up, and so their legs look massive and muscular from that angle, and it never like left his head. I don't know how much truth there is to that, but like I've said, women over the years, Robert Crumb. I'm kind of surprised, and maybe I shouldn't say anything about this. I'm kind of surprised he hasn't been canceled, but then again, he lives over in France. He's kind of dropped off the scene. Like they're publishing his sketchbooks over the years, and the dude's gonna die soon. I think he's in his 80s now. Let's see, Wikipedia. 40. So he was born in 43. Where's the age? Come on. Age. 80. Yeah, so he's 80 now. I mean, if you look, maybe he's not the healthiest of guys. I don't know. He could have another 20 years. That's very possible. I mean, France has some really good food. I swear their wine has like some type of like anti-aging antioxidant in it. But yeah, he's not going to be around soon. I think because he keeps himself out of the spotlight. That's one of the reasons they've never gone after him. But a strange dude, but he's a strange dude that women tend to like, from what I've seen. If they're a fan of his, like they have no issues with giving him a piggyback ride or like, you know. The other guy, and this is the last one I have for this, and if there's any other series out there that you know that women liked, let me know. So Harvey Pekar, he died a couple years back. Well known for American Splendor, became better known from the movie with the same name. Paul Giamatti plays him, and then there was an episode that he did with Anthony Bourdain, I believe, was on No Reservations in Cleveland, and he died before that episode aired. So it was dedicated to Harvey Pekar. It was kind of sad. Like a lot of the people Bourdain met with on the show ended up passing away before the show aired. Along with Pekar, it was Jim Harrison passed away. And they did the Montana episode. You might remember it had Joe Rogan in it. Anthony, I think Joe Rogan might be the only person from that episode who's still alive. So Harvey Pekar, he started doing indie comics back in the 70s. Various artists. He had his own unique way of writing the scripts. He basically did stick figures and he'd write in the dialogue, and the artist would have to try to interpret like, okay, where is this at? How are these stick figures facing? What should I have them doing? Yeah, here's a picture of the Paul Giamatti and Harvey together. I guess Harvey was only 70. But, you know, he did have cancer at one point in time and not exactly the healthiest of dudes. So I think it's like not necessarily, he doesn't really write about women, but it's the fact that, yeah, here's him with Bourdain. I think it had to do more with the realism, and it wasn't superheroes. It was the everyday life and how he captured that in his comics with some of his stories. And, you know, Robert Crumb did work with him on occasion doing some of his stories. So I can see why women would be attracted to this too. It's the alternative to the superhero comics that boys are into. But this is, I would say, out of these three examples, this is what the comic industry doesn't seem to understand. There was already a formula in the past for what made women attracted to comics when they were. And instead of following these examples, well, for one, the big problem the industry has right now is, well, they're all men. I didn't know Terry Moore was a man until I think it was like a year after I'd been reading the comics. I saw a picture of him because every time I had met somebody with the name of Terry, it was always a girl. I met a few guys after that, but it was like after I realized Terry Moore was a guy that, like, oh shit, yeah, I guess guys do have used that name or have that name. But yeah, they're all guys, so the comic industry already has an issue with that. The other weird thing is, for some reason, the industry right now thinks that women are only into like gay gender study type comics written by women who are not even like representative of the majority of women. Like, most women are straight. Let's be honest about this. Unless you're a liberal woman, then odds are you're going to say that you're bi while saying that you're also an ally of the people who play for the other team. But most women in the world are straight. So for some reason, the comic industry is really focusing on like a minority of a minority of a minority And when you are focusing on that small of a group to try to make your sales, I don't understand what the hell you're expecting. And then they try to shame everybody else, like, "Hey, you're not buying our comics. That means you're a bad person." It's like you're you're not writing a comic for them. That's the problem. These guys just told their stories. Terry Moore, I forget what his past is, but really he does like really good um, real life style artwork. Like there isn't really like, even though they come off as cartoony, you can tell that there's like a real subject that he's going by when he draws these. And they're not, like I said, they're not superheroes. They're just, he's drawing everyday people is what he's doing. And Robert Crumb, yeah, he'll exaggerate, but he'll exaggerate the things that he likes and the things that some people are very uncomfortable with. You know, like I'm really sure that these things right here are not poking out as much as as he's making them poke out. Like that's not what anybody else was seeing. So yeah, Monica here. Um, what did Bill see in her? Well, I'm thinking I know what I know what Robert was seeing, but that was his thing. It's like the things that people might find unattractive or unappealing, he would focus on and make it stand out. And in a way where people actually were like, oh shit, okay, well, I kind of like that. Um, let's see here. See if we can bring this one up. Nope. Oh wait, here we go. Yeah, here's another good one. And this is more of his realistic stuff. This isn't like the exaggerated things that he was doing for a while. And it looks like this might be more. Um, what year does that say? Might be 2023. So this is more recent stuff. You can see that his art has still continued to evolve over time. But yeah, that's some of the things I wanted to point out. Like, what made comics attractive to women beforehand, and where the hell did the industry go wrong? Because I don't understand like what the hell they're focusing on now, why they think women want this stuff, and it doesn't make any sense to me. If you got any other titles you'd like to suggest or artists that you know women tend to be fond of, let me know in the comments. And in the meantime, keep on typing.